The helicopter shook and shuddered as the Shulvanti laser bolts thudded off the hull. Not that thud was the right word, the bolts were massless, but you get the point. We were still in danger. The soldiers on the ground were still shooting at us, and of course a shitload of gunships were bearing down on us. It was hard to see them all in the setting sun. I opened up with the machine gun again as Renard juked and rolled every which way. The weapon boomed as I swept it across the nearest gunship, and did absolutely nothing. Shit. "Keep us moving," I shouted, as the gunships fired again. "Not going to be able to do anything for long if everyone keeps shooting at us," Renard Duchamp snapped as he swerved, narrowly avoiding the pencil-thin beams. One shot through the cabin, narrowly missing my head. Renard pulled up sharply, and I nearly fell back in the cabin as the chopper shot upwards. The gunship followed, but that thing was built for air-to-ground combat. It lagged behind. That must have been what Renard wanted. He angled the chopper down. The nose pointed down as I held on for dear life. "What the hell are you doing?" I yelled as we dove towards the gunship. We all plummeted towards Earth at a good 9.8 meters a second faster every second, plus the velocity of the chopper as the gunship struggled to get out of the way. It got hooked in our helicopter's skids before tearing them loose, but the damage was done. Our chopper landing on it had sent it slowly, inexorably towards the ground. When it hit the ground, something must have busted, because that thing went up so hard the surrounding cliff collapsed into the river with a massive fireball. Our own helicopter was still careening out of control. Renard was still attempting to wrest some life out of it. In the meantime, we were 6 feet above the ground, beelining towards some Shulvanti Marines on the hill, shooting down at the inmates. They turned to run, but it was too late. "Renard!" I yelled. "What the hell are you?" The rest of my interrogative sentence was cut off by a deluge of blue. You know how when you're at the beach, sometimes you get slapped hard by a wave? Yeah, that's what it felt like. When I wasn't being hosed down, I could see heads, arms, upper halves disappearing. It occurred to me that maybe Renard had more control than I thought. "Yeah, take it, you bitches!" I yelled, as Renard managed to finally level out. The hill was just painted blue as sheer blood. "This is how it is, you goddamn rotten dick-having oversex... Mr. Steinberg! Tit-having motherfucking titty-sucking..." I opened fire again, cutting down the survivors. In the river valley, the fighting had broken down into brawls between the prisoners and guards. On the horizon, more landing craft could be seen in the distance. "Took them long enough?" Jeff yelled over the noise. "Mr. Steinberg!" "Two bald sack-smelling bitches!" "Mr. Steinberg!" Renard yelled. "Please kindly shut up." I called it as something exploded against us, sending us spinning again. "Hold on to something!" Renard yelled, as the chopper spun towards the ground. I jumped for it and rolled. The chopper was only a few feet above the ground at this point. It turned out that a helicopter crashing is really loud and dangerous. I was lucky I'd fallen to the ground when I jumped. A piece of the blade sailed inches over my head, burying itself in a tree. I got to my feet, running towards the crash. Even from here I could see Renard was dying, with a piece of metal through his chest. Blood dripped from his mouth. "Worth it," he sputtered, before expiring. Jeff, however, was struggling with his seatbelt. Seatbelts? It was a set of 5-pointed straps. I looked around. Perfect. I picked up a piece of jagged metal and cut the straps. The chopper was on his side. Jeff flopped to the floor and got up. "You good?" "Scared shitless," he admitted, "but alive." "Good, we gotta go, come on." I could hear shouts and the sound of alien animals getting closer. Had to be Reeks handlers, and I knew Jeff could hear them too. The two of us bolted into the woods. In the distance I could hear gunshots, real proper gunshots. The fighting must have been spilling out onto private lands. In the meantime though, we had to find a way out or something. We just kept running. Reeks is at our back. "Hold on!" I picked up a rock and swung it around, braining a Reeks that jumped out at us. The rest couldn't have been far behind. "Run!" We ran for it once again, not being able to see too much in the dark. Occasionally things were illuminated by the shield's laser bolts. Those bolts blew apart trees and started small fires. I'd hate to get shot with one of them. "Motherfuck!" I yelled, as a tree came down on me, pinning my leg. "Tom!" Jeff ran over, trying to pull me free. "Fuck!" I could hear the Reeks handlers getting close. Jeff kept pulling me. "Just leave me," I started, but I was cut off. "No!" Jeff looked a little crazy as a Reeks burst out of the underbrush. He just grabbed it and... I couldn't believe my eyes. Sweet, kind Jeff yelled angrily as he wrapped his legs around the neck and pulled his head off. I could hear the handler yelling something as Jeff hooked his hands on the tree and, with another yell, pulled it off me. Hysterical strength for the win. I crawled out as an actual gunshot ran out. I had forgotten the Reeks handlers carried actual shotties. The only thing that stopped me looking around for the source was that it was oddly high-pitched, and probably alien. We soon made it to the riverbank. It was, I don't know, a 20-30 foot drop to the river. I jumped, but not before I felt like I'd been punched in the leg. I'd been shot. God damn, that hurt. I lost control and belly flopped in the water, losing consciousness. Maryland was at war. All through the night, small skirmishes popped up, sometimes between escaped prisoners and Shovante Marines, sometimes between enraged civilians who just didn't want either on their property. In the distance, structures engulfed in flames burned brightly in the night, belching smoke high into the sky. Gunships and troop transports rumbled overhead. Captain, no. Former Emergency Governess Rishi Kosmanos. Pause the video. Well? Maryland's new governess sighed. At first she'd been excited, a little more than was professional anyway, to be governess on the sex planet. That excitement had lasted about a day and, well, 60 days into her administration she was praying the Empress called her up and moved her elsewhere. Maybe planet Facefuck, where the plants are all carnivorous and the animals laid their eggs in Shovante ribcages. Governess Taparata valued the former emergency governess's advice, to say the least. She pinched the bridge of her nose. Well, it's obvious police actions haven't worked. We arrested everybody involved in the debacle with Baroness Tamantios. A number disappeared, and now this, so we need to... Rishi slowly mouthed the words to her. Make a new thread list. Thank you, Captain Rishi. Now, I wanted to establish that orbital bombardment is squarely off the table, correct? Good. Rishi nodded. If you don't mind, I've drawn up a list of investigators to assist military operations in the region. Use them wisely. We have to pull some from other areas. Taparata opened the file. Interior agents? At least they're skilled. Let's start with these two here, Gol Yeskireta and Ramey Shalvos. Bring them here, I want to brief them personally. Oh, and let's look into rehabilitation of any captured fighters. It's obvious the aggressive tactics the Empress and Planetary Governess demands aren't working. And... The Governess tapped her tusk while she thought. Maybe make sure our Marines don't treat this world like a dick dispenser, Rishi added. Half the problems we've seen were caused by horny Marines. No sex planet. Got it. Taparata wrote everything down. She'd try, but there was no doing the impossible. Rumours of a planet populated by men with crazy stamina and light sex had abounded for years. Hell, she'd grown up hearing about this planet, so when the actual invasion happened, she'd... Yeah. All those years of planning for this. Taparata sighed. She watched the map of Maryland suddenly blink more and more red. Guess I've inherited a crisis, Captain Rishi. Taparata was the newly appointed ruler of a red zone.